Welcome back, freelance friends. Thanks for joining me. Today we have another episode of Let's Talk Tech, and one of my favorite topics lately is AI. Today we're going to be talking about Gemini versus ChatGPT and which of those AI assistants is right for you. It's so hard to keep up. The AI assistant landscape is evolving rapidly. And of course, ChatGPT dominated the early conversation as early to market. But as time has gone on, Google's Gemini has emerged as a serious competitor, especially lately, in my opinion. So if you're trying to decide which tool deserves a spot in your workflow, understanding the key differences between ChatGPT and Gemini can help you make the right choice. So, just as a review, ChatGPT was developed by OpenAI. That was the tool that basically brought conversational AI into the mainstream. It's been around publicly since late 2022. It's known for its natural language capabilities. It has great creative writing prowess, and it has a really extensive ecosystem of plugins and custom GPTs available. Now, it's available for free or paid tiers, but it has become one of the default AI assistants for millions of users. I suspect that if you asked people in general about conversational AI, that many of them would be familiar with ChatGPT. But then there's Gemini, which is Google's entry into the AI assistant race. This leverages Google's massive data infrastructure and search capabilities. So you're not going to be surprised that it's deeply integrated with Google's ecosystem of products and offers real-time information access as a core feature. Now, like ChatGPT, Gemini also comes in both free and paid versions. Now, ChatGPT excels at creative and conversational tasks. If you're brainstorming ideas, writing marketing copy, drafting emails, working on creative projects, ChatGPT's language generation often feels very natural and engaging. It has a knack for understanding your tone and your style, making it particularly effective for content creation. I really like how it remembers prompts that I've asked it in the past, and it uses those to build on my particular writing style. I'm appreciative of that. And then there's the custom GPT features. They're a significant advantage because you can create specialized versions of ChatGPT tailored to specific tasks, whether that's a resume writer helper who knows your background, or a coding assistant who's familiar with your tech stack, or maybe even a social media strategist who's aligned with your brand voice. You get the idea. This level of communication can save you enormous amounts of time after you've set it up. Now, ChatGPT's ecosystem is more mature. As I mentioned, it has been around a little bit longer. So the availability of things like plugins extends its functionality significantly because it allows for integration with various tools like Canva that many of us use. So if you need an AI assistant that plays well with your existing tools, ChatGPT probably offers more options currently, but we know that that's subject to change. And in addition, for coding assistants, many developers do say that they prefer ChatGPT up to this point. It is particularly strong with some popular programming languages and frameworks, and I guess that it can explain code clearly and help coders debug errors in their code and even suggest optimizations. So it really does seem to shine there. But Gemini also has a very shiny side. It has killer features in its native integration with things like Google search. Now, unlike ChatGPT, which requires a plugin or a separate tool for web access, you've probably noticed that Gemini can pull in information seamlessly. You've probably seen it in your Google browser. If you do use your Google browser, it's built in. So if you're researching recent events, looking up facts, or need up-to-date information, Gemini often provides that very current and comprehensive answer without you having to explicitly go somewhere else to search. Now, the Google ecosystem integration is powerful. So if you're already living in the Google world, you probably notice that Gemini works directly with Gmail and Google Docs and Google Drive, Google Maps, and even YouTube. I know that I've noticed that recently it is assisting me like Copilot does in writing emails. It's summarizing emails for me. It's suggesting certain phrases or wording. It's rewriting emails for me if I ask it to make it a little smoother within Gmail. So lots of different things that you can ask it to do. Now, this integration, of course, eliminates the friction of switching between tools and helps to significantly streamline your workflow. So Gemini can also handle multimodal inputs particularly well. So if you upload an image and ask a question about it, then it usually does a decent job with that, which is useful for everything from analyzing charts to getting help with visual design. Now, ChatGPT does also have image capabilities, but as of right now, in my opinion, Gemini's implementation feels a little more integrated and responsive. Now, for research-intensive tasks, Gemini's ability to cite sources and provide links to where it found information is valuable. It tends to be more transparent about where answers come from, which matters when you need to verify information or dive deeper into a topic. Because of course we have to look at those sources because we know that some of those sources may not be reputable and not be a source that we ever actually wanted to cite. So what about the practical differences in daily use? Well, let's talk about speed and responsiveness first. Both tools are generally fast, but response times can vary. ChatGPT sometimes feels slightly quicker for straightforward queries, but then Gemini sometimes can take a bit longer when it's searching for current information. Then what about the conversation memory? As I mentioned, ChatGPT maintains context very well across long conversations and remembers your preferences if you're a Plus subscriber. I think that even as a free subscriber, it does remember some preferences. I know that it does. Now, Gemini also maintains context, but can sometimes lose the thread in a lengthy exchange. Now, if you're mostly a mobile user, you probably care about mobile experience. Both have mobile apps, but Gemini's integration with Android and upcoming integration with the iPhone make it particularly seamless, or will likely make it more seamless on mobile devices. ChatGPT's mobile app, though, is solid. I feel like it's solid across both iOS and Android. Now, what about accuracy and hallucinations? Well, both AI assistants can occasionally hallucinate, as I think all AI tools currently do, or provide incorrect information with lots of confidence. Have you noticed that it is very confident and it's inaccurate Answer is, I've noticed that on some occasions. But Gemini's connection to Google search does help it somewhat reduce this for factual queries, but neither tool is infallible because, again, we know that there are sources of information that are being used that are not credible. So be sure to always verify important information regardless of what tool you use. Now, what about price? Well, both tools offer a free tier, as I mentioned. So ChatGPT Plus is right now, at the time of this recording, about $20 a month. And it does give you more access to the tool and access to their newest GPT models. So priority access gives you something over the free version. Something to consider. Now, Gemini also has that free tier in a Gemini Advanced tier, which, like ChatGPT, is about $20 a month at the time of this recording. Now, this is supposedly included with Google One AI Premium, and it should provide access to the more powerful models, integration with your Google Workspace apps, and then some additional features. Now, from what I've read, if you're already paying for Google One storage, that the Gemini Advanced bundle might offer better value. So I'm going to look at that because I do pay for Google One storage, but it isn't a tool that I've been paying for so far because I have been paying for Copilot, which you all know if you've listened to any of these podcast episodes, I do find very helpful because it's built into the Microsoft suite. Okay, back to Gemini and ChatGPT. Which one should you choose? Well, the answer depends on your specific needs and your current workflow. So I'd say choose ChatGPT if you do a lot of writing and content generation, if you want extensive customization options with different GPTs, if you need strong coding assistance, or if you already use tools that integrate with ChatGPT. On the other hand, choose Gemini if you live in the Google ecosystem. Obviously, that makes the most sense if you're a heavy Gmail, Google Docs, Google Drive user. It only makes sense to use Gemini, in my opinion. Also, if you really want that current real-time information right now, Gemini wins on that. It's also good because of that if you do a lot of research that requires source verification. And then, as I mentioned, there are those multimodal capabilities between text and images that you can utilize. Now, we know sometimes it isn't a clear-cut answer, that it's not Gemini or ChatGPT. It's some combination of both of them. So when would you use both? Well, when your work requires both creative content generation and research, when you want the best tool for a specific task and you learn that one tool is better at that task than the other tool, when you have the budget that allows you for flexibility, maybe you can subscribe to both tools. Or maybe you just like experimenting with different approaches as these tools continue to evolve. So the bottom line is that both ChatGPT and Gemini are powerful AI assistants that can significantly boost your freelance productivity. ChatGPT currently leads in some areas, while Gemini leads in others. But the good news is that both tools offer free tiers, so you can experiment with each before you decide to commit to a paid plan. Try both of them with your work tasks and see which one feels more intuitive and delivers better results for what you specifically need. Because we all know the AI landscape is evolving so rapidly, and both tools are going to continue to improve and add features. And then, of course, competitor tools are going to do the same thing. So the best choice today may change in 6 months, but stay flexible, keep experimenting, and choose the tool that genuinely makes your work easier and more effective right now. Once again, thanks for tuning in. If you found this helpful, please do like and subscribe. I hope to see you on a future episode soon. Take care. Bye.